Hey guys, we're here in the shop today with a pair of Yetis, the Axial Yeti kit version as well as my ready to run version here in the back. Now today what I want to do is go over some of the differences between the two kits as well as try and help you make that decision if you're having a hard time choosing between going ready to run or stepping up and getting the kit version and adding your own electronics. So what I want to do is kind of go over the pair of them, try and show you those two differences side by side, talk a little bit about why those are a good thing or why it might be better for you to go with one versus the other. Now, before we start comparing the parts that come with the kit versus the ready to run, we need to first look at the parts that don't come with the kit, that being the electronics that are included with the Axial RTR version. Now, the electronics that come with the RTR version are actually a really decent set of electronics, not something that you should overlook for the value when picking up that RTR. The motor and ESC that come in the ready to run version are labeled an Axial Vanguard system, but they're produced by Castle Creations, a well-known business in electronics for these RC cars. So, something that you can feel pretty comfortable standing behind. Then comes the radio. Axial includes their standard 2-channel 2.4 gigahertz radio that basically comes in all of their cars. So nothing too crazy here, gets the job done, but very basic settings, just some analog style trim dual rate buttons that sit in the back here. Nothing to get too excited over, but if you don't have a radio already, something that you are going to need and you are going to have to assign some sort of value to if you're deciding to go with the kit. Now, what we have here is my ready to run version. Now, something I need to mention is that this isn't exactly stock anymore. You will see that I definitely have different wheels and tires on it currently, as well as some other aftermarket parts that lay underneath of there. But I will be strictly discussing the difference between a stock ready to run and then the kit version as we go along as far as the differences go. Now, as I mentioned, the tires that are on my Yeti here are a different set. But when this car came new, it had this set of BFG tires along with a set of Axial bead locks. Now, Axial initially had some issues with the style of hub that they were running in the middle of the wheel, but they did address that with a service pack. So now, both cars, both the ready to run version as well as the kit version, both use a regular 12 millimeter hex and then SLW style hub. This is a plastic version of Vanquish's patented SLW style 6-bolt bolt-on hub. Getting a closer look at these two setups here, the wheels are basically the same design, however they have a different face pattern. This wheel is a Walker Evans style wheel, and the wheel that comes on the new kit version is a Method style beadlock. Like I mentioned, this is a BFG pattern, a licensed BFG crawler tire. Next to it here is a set of Falken Wild Peak licensed tires. Another big difference between the two is the compound. On the right here, on the RTR version, we've got what most people call the RTR compound. The technical name for it from Axial is S40 compound. Now, on the left here, the new Falkens actually come in a compound that is between the ready-to-run version that we've seen and the sticky version that we've seen. The sticky version they call an R35. These they're calling an S30. Now, it's a much stickier compound than the harder S40 ready-to-run compound, but it's got a little bit more firmness to try and keep its shape better at speed, something that I think will probably work out really well. Something else to mention about these Falken tires is the internal design of the tire is actually pretty advanced. There's a lot of sidewall ribbing as well as ribbing that goes all the way around the outside of the tire, as well as a little bit thicker carcass along the top side. So Axial put a lot of time and effort into the internal design of this tire to try and help it keep its shape a little bit better. Now, something else to note is that inside of both of these tires, Axial runs the same foam. That is something that could probably be improved upon a little bit because it's definitely too soft for this car and the speeds that it runs. So, something I would like to see is a stiffer foam. Looking big picture again, something else that is going to be extremely obvious to notice is the body. Now, this body on my ready to run is covered with a Freaky Skins, but when it came from the factory, it obviously had a factory paint job on it. Something that definitely differs from the new kit version, which comes with a completely clear body that's ready for you to do your own thing on. Now, one thing that I would really like to point out, and I really enjoyed about this car, is that this body was all completely pre-trimmed. While I do enjoy putting a kit together, trimming out the body is not something I particularly enjoy, and I find it to just be kind of a chore. So opening up the package and finding this thing completely trimmed out already, a huge bonus for me. Everything that from the side vents that hold this exhaust piece in here all the way down to the driver interior panels and the roof. The whole thing completely done. All you had to do is bolt it on. I've now removed the body on both of them so that we can get a look at what lays underneath. Now, the Yeti kit version over here, I have not installed a motor or ESC in. I did install my servo in there while I was assembling the kit. The Yeti RTR version over here, however, does have all of the electronics installed. However, these are aftermarket electronics that I have swapped out over time here. The first thing I want to talk about is the suspension. The Axial Ready to Run version comes with an aluminum bodied shock with a plastic cap as well as plastic adjusters and things like that. Overall, I was actually pretty happy with this. It did come with very thin oil out of the box, so that's something that you could adjust if you liked. Next, in the Yeti kit version, it comes with Axial's Icon branded shocks. This again is an aluminum shock body, same plastic cap as well as the adjusters and such. However, inside is a machined piston, and overall these shocks did seem to be a little bit smoother. However, I have been running the Ready to Run versions all summer and I haven't really done much maintenance to them since. And overall, I really wasn't displeased with the Ready to Run version of the shocks. However, the Icons definitely did have a nice feel once built. The same goes for all of this with the front shocks. Now, the rear axle of these two cars is exactly identical as far as outward appearance goes. However, what does come with the Axial Yeti kit version is hardened gears from Axial. That's a big bonus. The Axial hardened gears that go inside of both the rear axle and the front axle are an awesome upgrade that comes with this kit. The very first set they've actually included with any of their kits to date. So a nice bonus for something like that. Overall, those gears are probably going to cost you around $50 if you were to buy them aftermarket for the Ready to Run version, which I actually did when I was upgrading my Ready to Run. Now, looking at the rear suspension here on the Ready to Run, I've upgraded my suspension already. I've got some titanium upper links as well as machined lower trailing arms. Now, the reason for the machined lower trailing arms is that the plastic versions were having a little bit of an issue with buckling up around the point between the chassis side and the shock mount. Now, in the kit version, Axial has actually addressed this. Now, with the kit version here, Axial actually includes link plates that bolt on both the front and back side of that trailing arm. That allows it to keep its shape much better when you're taking those big jumps. So that should actually help prolong the life of those plastic links, probably saving you from having to upgrade to the aluminum links like I did. Axial still has the same plastic upper links, but I didn't actually have any issues with those. I was just replacing them at the same time I replaced my lowers on my Ready to Run version. Moving to the front end of the car, and we'll take a look at the suspension there. Now, in the kit version, all of the tie rods and toe links were actually plastic pieces. I have replaced those because I wanted something a little bit more rigid. Also, the Ready to Run version comes with dog bone front axle shafts with a typical dog bone style drive cut. I've also got some aftermarket aluminum knuckles on here. Those are not included with the Ready to Run, obviously. Now, if we go over to the kit version, you'll see that Axial has included several upgrades already. On this version, Axial includes 4mm aluminum turnbuckles for the top camber link as well as the tie rod behind it there. So those are going to be much more rigid than the plastic pieces that came on the Ready to Run. Now, with those being aluminum, you do want to make sure that you watch those just to make sure that you don't have any bent turnbuckles as you're really throwing this thing around. It could happen being that they are aluminum and not like a steel or titanium type version, so something to watch. Now, another bonus to the Axial kit version is that it comes with their option part for the front axles. These are a universal style axle, and that's actually the same part that I'm running in my Ready to Run version, something that I've had great luck with so far, and the durability has proven to be quite nice. Now, that wasn't the main differences between the kit version and the Ready to Run. There are still other things in there, such as the steel posts that go into the steering bell crank system to help keep that as rigid as possible. It is nice, and it's something that I have replaced already on my kit version. Those that come in this one are bearing supported rather than the bushing supported that comes with the Ready to Run. So that steel with a bearing is not going to wear nearly like the plastic on plastic that was included with the kit version. So which one should you get? Well, if you can spend the extra money, get the kit. It's got some great upgrades included in the box that I had already found necessary while running my RTR version. So in the end, I think you're going to end up with most of the parts that come on this in some fashion. However, it is extra money, and I totally understand that. Getting it ready to run and just taking it out of the box and going and run it is definitely an experience of its own. So maybe that is what's for you. Both of them are a solid setup. Both of them are going to be a lot of fun. I have absolutely enjoyed bashing my ready to run version all summer. Hopefully this video helped you guys identify the differences between the two products. Axial did a great job with the kit version and the ready to run. I've had a lot of fun with my ready to run so far. It does have quite a few upgrades in it already, but that's just something I do no matter what the vehicle. So either way, they're both a great choice. But I really think that this kit could really be the right choice for you if you've got the extra money to spend on the parts that are still needed. But with that said, if you guys have questions or things like that, feel free to comment below. I'm happy to help as much as I can. Also, check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/Harley Designs. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of there. I try and reply to the comments and things like that I get, but not always going to keep on top of everything. So try and get in contact with me if you have any questions, and I'll try and be as helpful as possible. But with that said, we'll see you guys on the next one.